is a solution, even though they only make, say, a few $100s a month at best. If we could just teach about saving 5% in Bitcoin and the magic and the power of that over a longer period of time, we believe that's extremely powerful. They have cell phones, they're on TikTok, they're on Facebook. Let's introduce them to Nostr. And that's why we really dumb it down to like just teaching basic savings, as this is a new savings technology. And if you want to learn more, then we'll pull back the curtain more, but we don't just want to jam it all up in your face. We want you to ask, how is this possible? And we could just show you exactly what we're doing. So I think that's probably the biggest thing when you think about philanthropy, is maybe people wondering how you're able to do it. We end up plugging in these old miners at a children's home in the jungle, 5 hours away from any major city, on this unused solar, and really send a signal that there's a hill tribe in the distant mountains, off grid, 5 hours away in the jungle, connected to the Bitcoin network. Like, that was the cool thing to us. Like the crypto bros want a Lamborghini. We just want to educate more people about Bitcoin.
You're in Thailand, educating people on Bitcoin, as I understood it, right?
Yes, we're in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and we have the Bitcoin Learning Center. It's been about 2 years now.
What is the Bitcoin Learning Center? I saw it on Twitter, I saw it.
So it's an education center that we help local native Thai people learn about the basics of finance and what is money and what is Bitcoin. And we also have a introduction to Bitcoin for foreigners in English. And then we have an advanced Bitcoin meetup, which is for people that are already in Bitcoin, understand Bitcoin. And those three main classes or meetups we have turned into like events, because it's quite large. So like, for example, we'll have an advanced Bitcoin meetup, and we have to separate the differences of them, because the advanced guys don't want to go to what is Bitcoin again. And so they've reached like 50 people each time we have an event, so meetup. So they're now events. For example, this weekend, we have 50 people coming that are Thai, native Thai speaking, to an advanced one to talk about community building. And then the following day, we have about 40 people, Bitcoin curious, to learn about Bitcoin.
There's a real challenge actually because I know that new people actually listen sometimes to the podcast, and I get the DMs like, oh, like you, sometimes I get too into the Bitcoin and it would be better to cover the basics of Bitcoin again on the podcast. But if you only cover the basis of like, oh, what is Bitcoin? Why do we need it? It gets boring for people because most people listening to this actually have a good understanding of Bitcoin. So if you always talk about why Bitcoin and what is Bitcoin, it bores most of the people, and it especially bores me at some point also. And this makes bad content. But I think it's an interesting balance to find of like how you can have beginner content of like, what is Bitcoin? Why is Bitcoin like the Austrian economics, the sound principles underneath it, but then also go deeper on more topics for the advanced crowd.
We find like sometimes a lot of the people that make it too advanced or a big event where we bring everyone together, they feel they have their own idea of what advanced is. And so they thought they weren't ready for that. So we all have a tough time with the terminology, because we're like, oh, you should definitely be at the more experienced Bitcoin meetup, because, you've been in Bitcoin for a year or two, and they think it might be more like, Bitcoin mining, or like the depths of node running, or like something silly. So we just try to make it like, hey, everything's easy and calm and cool, because we want as many people to feel as comfortable as possible. So it's not like, oh, it's your first time, you can't come to it's not like that at all. It's just, this might be a little more advanced, and then this might be a little more introductory. So we try to break it down and offer each month. We'll try to have the same schedule. So we'll have one like that week that's also for beginners and also for people that are experienced.
Yeah, I'm thinking even about developing like a 7-segment course around Bitcoin on my podcast, and just like giving it to like, okay, you want to start on my podcast, like if you don't know about Bitcoin, that's the 7 episodes you can watch. And then after that, you can go to whatever episode you would like and pick from like now almost 500 different people you can tune in.
Yeah, it's cool. We've been doing this for about 2 years now, just under 2 years, and it's grown quite rapidly. Just like our last event when was 100 people, and these are 100 Bitcoiners. So we're really, when we announce it on all the social channels, and we're really clear about, attention Bitcoiners. We've got, free food for Bitcoiners, and we hammer that down because we really want to keep it focused. We understand that people are interested in other things. And we also understand that people come from, the shitcoin casino also. So we don't want to just like have, a hard stop at the door. Like, no, you're not welcome. Because we know people come from there, and that's a lot how most people finally arrive at Bitcoin. So we welcome everyone, and it's never been like, people ask us often, do you have problems with that? And it's not like people are coming in trying to like, be disruptive about their coin or something, or trying to sell it. Cause when you walk in there, it's pretty orange, and it's pretty, it's big Bitcoin. And we'll have like larger events, and someone will say like, hey, is this, they'll even come to me. They don't know that, I work there, and they'll say, do people talk about other things? And I'm like, shh, you don't want to mention that around here. You don't want to mention the wrong person, because they'll give you a hard time, so. But being in this position, we really want to celebrate every Bitcoiner that comes through the building. We want to empower them and encourage them. So it's important that we're respectful and understanding, and really want to take that opportunity. If they haven't found Bitcoin yet, we know they will eventually. So we want to make sure we handle them with care and show them, the right guys or women in the room that could help carry them on,
Super interesting. So you do it all physically, and there are like event centers, and is there even like a center where people come in? Is this the learning center?
Yeah, so it's awesome. So we reconstructed a 40-year-old building that my partner Phi's father had, and it's 3 stories. So we gutted the whole thing, and we completely renovated it to be the Bitcoin building. So we have we're working on the 3rd floor now. So when people come in, there's this big, huge whiteboard etched in wood on the wall, big orange leather couch, and then a huge teak wood table, kitchen. It's really modern for in Thailand. And then as you go up the 2nd floor, you can just see it's a huge, big open space where we have big tables for learning, a conference room, a board room, and then we have a special we call Bob's Corner. Our partner in Bangkok built on Bitcoin. We have like their big banner over there, and we got a pretty cool like leather orange couch that reclines over there. So we've got all this like open space for collaboration and working, and really for events, because our meetups are now events because they've gotten so large. Like we really don't have an event that's less than 50 people now, 50
That's
Bitcoiners,
amazing.
50 Bitcoiners, so that, and so being in Chiang Mai, Thailand, there's a lot of expats there. Like, so one of the reasons that I moved here a little over about 3.5 years ago was because there was a Bitcoin community, and it's one of the longest running Bitcoin communities in Southeast Asia. So since 2016, there's been a Bitcoin meetup, and it's been relatively small, but it's more of a social meetup. It's not really structured. People come, people go. It's less than 50% Bitcoin only. So we recognize like that's cool, but we needed a Bitcoin focused building for education and to really be focused on Bitcoin only. So, and that was really great. So now he's able to send some people our way. Instead of it just being like, smokes and jokes and drinking, they could come over and have like structured stuff. So we'll have classes on self-custody. We'll have classes on inheritance. We'll have basic classes on events and activities. Like we work in the hill tribes, which we could get into, which is an incredible story, how we introduce Bitcoin to the hill tribes. And so a lot of people want to know what we're working on. Like one of the reasons we have this microphone is because, well, we didn't want to get into podcasts. It's just not our like vibe. It's not for us, or it wasn't for me specifically. I wanted to focus on community building and education, but many people were very curious about what we do up in the mountains with Bitcoin in these hill tribes. So we had gotten professional recording equipment because we were always answering with just the earphones or the wire. So it's developed quite rapidly to people wanting to actually hear and see what we're doing in northern Thailand, because it's really fascinating to come see. It's one thing to hear about it, but like if you come to one of our events, it's pretty intense. We just had someone last week or 2 weeks ago that's never seen Bitcoiners in person. And he's like, this is insane. It's like a small little conference because there's 30 people on the downstairs, 30 people on the second floor, 30 people on the third floor. And it's just super awesome energy. So, I mean, you really have to come and see it. You know, anytime that if you're ever in northern Thailand, you definitely have to come see the Bitcoin Learning Center.
I never was there, but I will definitely, when I will come there, I will get there. I want to get into hill tribes, but maybe first, why did you move in the first place to Thailand?
So I moved in Thailand I left America in 2018 to travel. And after traveling for warm weather, I have a organization in the States that is ran by a super smart woman in Miami or South Florida. So she still runs the organization there. We deliver prepared food, but I stepped aside and let her run the organization, and I left in 2018. How I eventually arrived in Thailand was I was looking for the very best place. I went the whole route that like the digital people go, you know, whether it's Medellin, Colombia, or down to Playa del Carmen, Mexico, or out into Spain and Portugal. And so I tried to like search for all the best places to go. Eventually I made it to Southeast Asia. And one of the major reasons I moved to Southeast Asia was because I could buy more Bitcoin. So I have a strong Western income from the company. And then my cost of living is 300% less. So I could stack 300% more. So that was like a huge reason. And then all roads kind of led me to Chiang Mai, Thailand, because the mountain vibe, it's laid back, the people are kind, it's extremely safe. You know, as a Bitcoiner, that's something that you really have to be thoughtful about, is the safety and security of where you live. That comfort alone is a big reason that I moved there, and it's super affordable. So, and especially if you are able to make a net Western income and live in the East, there's that arbitrage there that's really compounding if you're stacking in Bitcoin for many years.
Interesting. I like that. It's also like once you unplug yourself from a specific location, which I basically done last year, you get to think about, okay, where do I actually want to live? And Thailand is something that came up a lot because I'm searching basically every other month of like, okay, if I want to move out of Austria, if I want to take that step, where do I want to go? And Thailand always comes up in a research, and I think it's a fascinating place. I already interviewed some Bitcoiners there. It's a really, really cool place. But now to the hill tribes. What is a hill tribe?
That's a great question. What is a hill tribe? So it's the people that live on the outside of society, on the outer sides of society, in these small villages that are literally in the hills. Typically on the border, this could be quite a wide border. It could be 50 miles or 100 kilometers, but from the border of Burma or China. And the hill tribes people up there, there's several different types of them. We work with the Karen hill tribe, that are a Christian hill tribe. And we would go up there because we started the foundation as an education foundation by providing English teachers to different orphanages in the city. And then we ended up realizing the biggest need was these most disconnected, marginalized communities in the hill tribes. So there's 100 children at this children's home. We went up there and we spent some time up there. We recognized, hey, these guys really need power. They're close enough to a school. They don't have power. Why don't we build them in a solar system? And so we decided to build a small 5 kilowatt solar system for them. They ended up not using it that much. And then so we had unused power. And then we talked to our friends in Bangkok, Piccolo down there, built on Bitcoin Bangkok. I said, listen, man, I don't know if this is possible. Like, I'm not really into mining much at the time. And he's like, well, why don't we come up there and check out what you're talking about? So a bunch of guys came up, a guy next door, not far from you, from Switzerland, from Bern. He's part of the Bob Space cohort came. A few guys came up, one guy from Italy, a guy from Spain. And they checked it out and they're like, yeah, dude, we could definitely plug in some old miners. So we end up plugging in these old miners at a children's home in the jungle, 5 hours away from any major city, on this unused solar. And as soon as we mentioned it on Twitter at the time, we had more donations that the miners would earn in 1 year. We had more donations in 1 day sent to the Bitcoin address of the miner that it would generate, even if it was powering for a full year. So that was super inspiring, empowering. But just let me explain. This was maybe like $10 a month or $12 a month or 40,000 sats or something at the time. So it wasn't much. And this is pre-halving. And then you'd have to think about it running on full batteries 24 hours a day. And it also rains. So, and it's not really practical. It was just, hey, how can we plug them into the Bitcoin network and really send a signal that there's a hill tribe in the distant mountains, off grid, 5 hours away in the jungle, connected to the Bitcoin network. Like, that was the cool thing to us, So then, after testing that, and that's really difficult. There's so many complexities when it's just smaller than hobby mining. We work with another community under the same hill tribe umbrella that has like 10 times the amount of solar. It's a solar village. Well, it's powered entirely by solar because the government displaced this community called Doi Tao by building a dam many years ago. And in return of flooding their land and their animals and their houses, they decided sometime over the last 10 years or 7 years that they would give them a huge solar setup. So just recently, again, this next year, so this is like the following year, we went up with another group of miners, specifically miners that come from the Bob Space guy, the Bitcoin Build on Bitcoin group. They came on and checked it out because this is way over my league now. I don't want to burn anything down. This is, and it's really, we got to really think up the whole process. There's a language difference. They're not technical. So we're right now working through that. And we're going to talk more about it this upcoming weekend on next steps. So, because we already have 3 miners up there. We have 2 S19J Pros sitting that we've already tested there. And then an M20, I think it is, that's sitting up there that we brought. So we went there on 2 occasions. We tested some things out. And so hopefully we could help them monetize some of that extra energy that they have there.
It's such a big power of Bitcoin, just being able to monetize that. You can just plug in a miner, and it's people sometimes bring up, oh, you could also do this with AI or with any other data centers. It's actually not like that. Bitcoin is so unique because you can turn it on and off again. You don't need the base load. You have no problem whatsoever with like latency or anything like that. And there are experts that can explain that way better why that is like that. I'm not the mining expert, but it's pretty unique of having Bitcoin miners in extremely weird locations where you wouldn't even anticipate it. And you just need to, I don't know, like a Starlink and some solar roofs or like whatever you need or however you connect it. And you're good to go, and you can monetize that, and you don't waste that energy. And I think it's such a unique power of Bitcoin that is overlooked by non-Bitcoiners.
It's crazy. Like if you think of when people say, oh, I want to donate to a children's home or this, don't donate clothes, don't donate food, donate solar panels, batteries, inverters, and old miners. Like that's what you need to donate. And if as long as you have a Bitcoiner within reach, like a few hours, that's really passionate about it, because it's more got to be a passion project, that you really want to see them plugged into the Bitcoin network and see them learning about it. And then, maybe that'll catch on and maybe we'll get donations. Maybe it won't, but donate like the things donate these things, just donate the solar panels and donate the inverters, donate the batteries and donate the old miners. This makes just too much sense to me. So it's a unique thing that we do up here in Northern Thailand, but we also do formal Bitcoin research. So our director of the foundation, Phi, she's got her master's degree from Texas A&M in America. She is the director of the Kostro Foundation, does everything with the Hill Tribes with us, all the disadvantaged communities. She's pursuing a formal Bitcoin education on their access. There are 5 different Hill Tribes' access to credit, their digital literacy, their financial literacy. So right now, the team we have go out there, they do a survey, they come back, we put it in the system, and we're at the analysis process where she's done 1,000 surveys, 200 people in 5 different Hill Tribe communities in northern Thailand. So that's super empowering to watch that unfold. There's a lot of people interested in that. Obviously, it's all going to be open source for any organization or any government to just look at our data and say, hey, this is the status on these people. And we believe that because they're on these marginalized communities on the very fringes of society out there, inflation really affects them the most. They can't get a second job. Like, they can't just increase the price of their tomatoes or whatever product that they're selling. It's not as easy as if you live in the city. So we see that, each year it's getting harder and harder for the people affected the most. And we want to do this research so that it could shine a light on the subject and eventually arrive at how saving in Bitcoin is a solution, even though they only make, say, a few $100s a month at best. If we could just teach about saving 5% in Bitcoin and the magic and the power of that over a longer period of time, we believe that's extremely powerful.
Yeah, and you hear that a lot, actually, not a lot, but I hear that sometimes where people say, like, oh, like, how does Bitcoin help underprivileged communities that don't even have money to save? And I think always the hope of being able to even save a few sats every month, even though if it's not a lot as a one-off thing, it accumulates, and it's the power, and it's that small thing that's like, oh, like, there's some small thing that is actually growing. There's a small peaking of hope for me. And I think that's so empowering. I like that a lot. And how do you see that, the role of Bitcoin in like those underprivileged communities?
So it is empowering, and we can teach them about saving, and we can show them in a variety of different ways. So in December, I had sent out a message on Nostr. I don't speak Thai. I could just get around a little bit. I don't write in Thai and I can't read in Thai, but I wrote a message in Thai, had it edited for me. And it was sent to Nostr, to a big community we have in Thailand called Siamster. That's their hashtag. And I could talk about all that community in a moment. And I said, I'm looking for the top 4 power users of Nostr in Thailand that we will fly up from Bangkok to Chiang Mai, which is an hour flight. And flying here is like $50 US. It's not that bad. It's not terrible. We'll pay for your flights round trip. You'll come to the Hill Tribes with us. We've got an event of 500 people, 200 kids. We want you to show them how to use Bitcoin Lightning using Nostr, because they have social media, they have cell phones, they have a living aunt or uncle that helps them have their cell phone usage. They're on TikTok, they're on Facebook. Let's introduce them to Nostr. So this is maybe December 14th, just a few months ago. 4 of them came up. It was wild. We've rented a van. There was 12 of us. We went up there, and it was during their Christmas event. So we were part of their Christmas event. Finally got about over 100 kids inside of the church because the weather was pretty challenging at the time. Broke them into groups of 20 people, had 5 instructors that are super power users that love Nostr, that love using the system. And as much as we were hopeful that everyone would figure it out, maybe most of them did not, but they quickly learned about getting these points. And we would give them like, I don't know, like $1 or $2 each. No, $3 each, just to test. And they started sending Lightning, and each group was doing it their own way, getting them on, whether that's using Prometheus, or they broke them into, I think, an iOS group and into an Android group because of the different apps. So maybe Primal's not the best use. And at the time we were using Yakihon because the onboarding, when you go in the setup of your app, you don't have to read English. You could actually read it in Thai. So anyway, the kids their very first interaction with money wasn't the Thai baht, wasn't the euro, wasn't the dollar. It was Bitcoin. And even though they're not so sure what this is or why this team's so excited about it, we've helped them build these huge kitchens for 100 children, water wells and bathrooms and dormitories. And we never just say, Bitcoin, you have to learn. It's just like, why do we always see this Bitcoin thing? Why do they teach us about this? So how it could affect these marginalized communities and hill tribes is like, bring your passion and just start showing these tools. And I think that was like a moment where maybe a few of them, our idea was that they use a hashtag of their village name and then hashtag hill tribe. So I guess you could go on Nostr right now and hashtag hill tribe and see if anyone's using it. And then if it catches on, then the kids could see they can monetize into it. Here in Thailand, we don't have a problem transferring money because we have all those QR payments. All the banks are linked, which is pretty frightening kind of. So we could easily just send them 1,000 baht or $30 for their $30 in sats, So it was just a really cool moment to just share about how I think that you could implement Nostr in the hill tribes and just see if it take hold, and show them, like, you got to spend a little more time with them and go over it a little bit. But once they get it and they know that they could just transfer that out into bot, then the magic just starts happening by itself.
Are you doing a lot of those philanthropic projects down there?
So I think that's how we started off. We just started off doing philanthropic projects that were not related to Bitcoin. And it's the only reason that we're able to do it is because of Bitcoin. Like if we had to worry about like our future before Bitcoin, we'd be like, doing everything we can to prepare for when we retire and when we're older. But because Bitcoin is so powerful and it's given so much hope and we have so much belief in it, we're able to do these things and help build their churches and help build different elements of the school or the bathrooms or lighting or solar systems, or fly people up to introduce them to new technology. And now we're starting basic financial education out there too. So yeah, I get that's how it started. I guess the whole thing is philanthropic. I mean, the whole operation. We have 5 staff, and we spend 7 days a week on Bitcoin up here. We have a lot of moving parts up here, and so I think the whole thing is that many people, that there's that like, what do they call it? Like like the crypto bros want a Lamborghini. Like, we just want to educate more people about Bitcoin. Like, that's what we want to do when number goes up. Like, we want to help more people, and so like on Saturday, even though it's an only Thai class, I'll have a translator. Many of them are engineers that understand English, but I'll be talking about how we could reach 1 million Thai people. And there's 72 or 73 million people. Just expose them, just be that touch point, the awareness of Bitcoin, because, Robin, like it takes time. It took me quite a bit of time to figure it all out. And so I know we need these touch points. It's not just like it's not something that you could just, put right in someone's head. So that's why we're doing so much work. And that's why we're working on such big projects. And later this year, we have even bigger projects. So it's a big team effort up here.
Let's take a break for a moment and appreciate the beauty that Coin Vigilante has made with the Bitcoin watches. Those watches are the most amazing, the most elegant way of showing that you are a true Bitcoiner. And Coin Vigilante just dropped a completely new and amazing Genesis edition of their watch collections. You have the date of the first ever mined Bitcoin block in there. And of course also the block height and which epoch we are currently in. I love the level of detail they put in this masterpiece. Make sure to check out those amazing Coin Vigilante timepieces down in the descriptions. I love those watches so much. And now if you have Bitcoin, I really do hope that you don't have it on exchange. But if you do have it on exchange, I have two ways for you to deal with that. The first way is you put it on a hardware wallet. That's the entry for you to get into the self-custody game. I recommend BitBox, Bitcoin only edition for that. It's a super simple and secure way. And if you check out the link in the description, you even get 5% off if you use the code Robin. And the second way is the Bitcoin way. The Bitcoin way is your all-in partner in terms of how to get the most out of your sovereignty. They will personalize for you a self-custody setup that is perfect for your individual situation. They will show you how you can secure your own devices. Securing your Bitcoin is not enough. You also have to keep all your devices secure. One topic that is overlooked often is the inheritance plan. What happens with your Bitcoin once you are no longer here? Do you have a plan for that in place already? And last but not least, if you're in jurisdictions where you don't feel safe, it's better to get a plan B. For all that, head over to thebitcoinway.com/Robin to get a 30-minute free call. And just a quick side note, I will be for the first time ever speaking at the Bitcoin Prague event in June. It will be absolutely legendary and I'm really looking forward to seeing all of you there. You can get your ticket in the link down in the description of Bitcoin Prague, and very important, use code Robin to get 10% off your ticket. I'm really looking forward to seeing you there. I do it's super fun. Yesterday, a discussion with my girlfriend even around the topic, but I use everything that I make from the podcast, besides the small thing that I need to live on, to reinvest in how to make the voice of Bitcoin in the internet a little bit bigger. So I invest now in people that make clips and shorts from that, and try to figure out, okay, should I do other formats to sort of live stream? What else could I do? I try to just, I mean, it's not philanthropic because it's my own business, but I do reinvest everything in the Bitcoin voice basically, and that's where I think the real power happens. But maybe on the philanthropic side, what do you think does Bitcoin do project like that, or in a broad sense, what does Bitcoin do to philanthropy in general?
I think it asks people. I think the biggest thing is it sparks curiosity of people watching, saying, how are they doing that? How are they doing it? Maybe why is a little easier because I believe people are good intentioned and want to help people. But if they start asking, like, how could they afford to do that? How are they doing this every day? How are they being funded? And so, like, I talk to the Bitcoiners and the younger, the newer ones as well, about this idea of cloning yourself. So, and it's pretty fascinating. So I tell them, instead of trying to get, because we live in Southeast Asia where a good salary is maybe like $7,000 a year or 300,000 baht or $10,000 a year. So they'll get to one. Bitcoin is like, it's out of reach totally. It's even out of reach maybe in the Western world now too. So I say it like this: just try to get to a half of a year salary in Bitcoin. So if you're earning 250,000 baht per year, try to get to 125,000 baht. That's your goal. Because what happens is, and then I have like for our chart this upcoming week is a silhouette of a person in black, and then a silhouette of a person in black and half in orange. And so now there's you working and doing your job, and now you have half of it in orange. And you'll see over the next year, all of a sudden, that guy's already working for you. So now you got two of you because of the power of Bitcoin compounding the way that it compounds, 65% per year. We could look at all the data on average, right? And so we have the case studies. So we have people in the office that have taken their entire salary in Bitcoin over a year, which is incredible. And her salary's been able to literally double and be that example. It's so then you show them this clone and you say, wow. Then the next slide I have for Saturday is 2 orange people, because over 2.5 years, now you have 3 of you working. You've got you, the black silhouette, and then you've got your 2 bright orange silhouettes. So then now you're able to do these philanthropic things. You're able to spend more time on things you care about, spend on time on helping people, educate people. So I think the big question is like, if people are really curious how, it's like, hey, come learn. And a lot of people in Thailand are, is that a scam? The news loves to report on Bitcoin mining, people stealing energy. So we want people to come learn from themselves. And that's why we really dumb it down to like just teaching basic savings, as this is a new savings technology. And if you want to learn more, then we'll pull back the curtain more, but we don't just want to jam it all up in your face. We want you to ask, how is this possible? And we could just show you exactly what we're doing. So I think that's probably the biggest thing when you think about philanthropy, is maybe people wondering how you're able to do it.
I love the orange man thing. That gives me the thinking, because if there's this very popular topic in Bitcoin with retire on Bitcoin, get to 1 Bitcoin and stuff like that. But it always has the bad connotation on there. It depends on whether you want to retire. Do you want to retire in New York City or do you want to retire somewhere in Thailand up the hill? You need different stacks depending on where you want to retire. Also depends on like how much you have, like how young you are, like all those variables that go into that thing. Way more interesting is like, okay, how many years of expenses do you have in Bitcoin already? And like, roughly like what do you spend in 1 year? And then like, okay, like what is your, like, do you have half a year of expenses in Bitcoin savings? Do you have 5 years in expenses in Bitcoin savings? And then it makes way more sense. I think that's a great way to look at it with the silhouettes and the orange man and cloning yourself. And yeah, maybe you start off and you have like 20% of a year saved up. And
yes,
after 10 years, you maybe have already 2 or 3 years saved in savings. And this gives you a lot of power of like, hey, I can do what I want, because if it doesn't work out, I have 5 years of expenses here saved up in Bitcoin. That's the real philanthropic project that we have to push, because that really empowers people.
Correct. And it's like the orange man. It's like that guy's working for you. So now you have two of you working and you're doing your job. And what's it going to be like the next year? So, and the forward years is now your 2 turns into 4. Now you have a little team working for you, and now your team is stronger than the you. So I just try to share it in a way that's like, get to 1 Bitcoin is kind of discouraging. Let's just get to a half year salary, stick with this, learn about it, keep coming here all the time, as much as you can. Ask us every question. Like, we just don't stop. We're relentless like you, Robin. We just don't give up, educating people. So that's just one of our ways of doing it. In fact, just like 2 weeks ago, one of the largest banks reached out to us. What? Like, I never thought, like, our little old place in northern Thailand, like one of the biggest banks in Thailand is reaching out to us to say, hey, how could they help us? Like, it's crazy. Like I never thought, that was years ahead for me when they had reached out to us. And we had just spoken at the largest university in northern Thailand, Chiang Mai University. Phi and Stefan and myself went, and they wanted to know about blockchain. So we quickly dispelled the differences between the Bitcoin blockchain, the one that was around by itself for 6 years, and then the one that's trying to solve everything other than money. So anyway, we went to we just started going to the universities. Next month, because of that university, 2 of the other large universities want us to come, and we're scheduled in both in April to go talk about Bitcoin, specifically what Bitcoin is. So it's a really cool movement what's happening up here. And it's really empowering to see so many people come together. Like, you actually have to build into your day that someone's going to come through the door. You don't know who, you don't know why, but you have to be like, oh, nice to meet you. so tell me about your journey. It's like, oh man, like I was just working on something I really was needing to work on. So you have to build into your day, or like I like to get a lot of things done before I get to the office. This way that, I'm flexible when someone comes through the door. And what's really crazy is we just had a huge meetup when we were announcing the Bitcoin Marathon and Festival, which we could get into in a moment, which is super, super big right now for us. We had during the day a Thai specific meetup, and out of that, they said, "Listen, you got all of the equipment. We should have a Thai podcast." So, and it's because the passion, because there was someone that is a creator that wants to do the producing part. There's a host that loves to be doing content creation. So they put it all together. And just over the last 4 weeks, like the channels, the early days of the channel are so exciting, right? You see the numbers really climbing and your engagement's huge. And so this was our 0 to 1 moment, even though we've been doing this for 2 years. The Thai team putting together the podcast brought all this energy, and then a lot more people are being exposed to it. And now like your model or platform or method, they have a little baby one, and they're inspired by people like you that are helping educate people. So thank you for that. And we're so excited to see how that's developed as well.
And one thing that people don't believe me, especially people in Bitcoin, but we need more Bitcoin podcasts because people think like there are like 5, 6, 7 or 10 good ones already. But then you have to look outside of the Bitcoin bubble. How many crypto podcasts, content creators, TikTokers are out there? How many finance pros, content creators, TikTokers, YouTubers are out there? And then you see, we are like 0.0111%, and 99.99% of the other ones are saying crap. And we have to increase that one. I encourage everyone, like I have sometimes guests on that don't produce any content and they don't do anything. I always say to like do something, have some format. And if it's one 30-second video per week that you post on Twitter, that's great. Like start somewhere. If you're comfortable sharing your face, and you are comfortable when you come on my podcast, share your face, then you can share it more, and you can connect your face with the Bitcoin message. And what happens there, you then become this orange digital soldier in this massive financial revolution, and that's the brothers in arms that we need for this information war that goes on every day. And so it's so funny. I got actually the question only once, and I think a lot of people have know why. But I got this question once, do you have like competition with other podcasters? No, like I meet with, for example, Rajat or Pram or like other podcasts regularly, and we are showing each other statistics of like, this has worked good for me this month. This worked. Like we are colleagues. we are in this together. We're not competing for one another. I know that my listeners most likely also watch his channel, and his channel watch my channel, and this is good. We need. The market is not with the Bitcoiners that are currently in there. The market is the 99.999% that is still out there in the traditional financial world. So I encourage everyone, and I would like to do that every once in a while on the podcast, just like, if you feel some courage in you that you get out your message, like just do it and see what happens. And I think that's great what you're doing also.
We had a guy, his name's Brad. He has a Canadian Bitcoin podcast, and similar thing. He decided to leave the West and come move in Chiang Mai. And I said, hey, well, he came over and I'm like, hey, we should have a podcast. He's like, all my stuff's in Canada still. And I'm like, but we have everything right here. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah. I said, and we have Neo who helps do a lot of the audio and visual and editing. And so we're like, pick a time, man. We're here, let's do it. And so we'll just give you the audio and the video, and you do what you do. And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah. I was like, so it's very cool to just, and the backdrop is because I'm not at the office right now. The backdrop is it's late here in Thailand. Is Bitcoin Chiang Mai, and it's really nice studio looking spot. So we were able to give people, and like Joe Nakamoto was recently by. Same thing. It's like, you want to talk? We got mics, we got video, we got all the things you guys need. The boxes and the inverters and the wires. So that was a really cool thing. It's like, because it's not my jam, and we have it anyway to answer questions about the research or about what we're working on, or the hill tribes or the mining. So why not come here and do your podcast? So we have the same thing as you. It's like, hey, if 30 minutes a week or one time, come on by. And now even we have Brad that's going to come by again, and we're going to do it on a different floor because we've been building since his last one. And we're going to talk about the Bitcoin Marathon and Festival on his podcast for the Canadian podcast. So the more, the merrier.
So you are almost always during the office hours in the learning center and just welcoming people that randomly come by.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. That's a really cool thing. I think we don't have that in Austria. Like, I think there are some projects, but I researched once and we don't have that. I'm really envy of that. There's like in El Salvador places like that. I know even in America there's some places. I think Texas, I forgot the name, but they have some co-working space where you can just come as a Bitcoiner and work there. So there are really cool projects around the world going on. And we need those physical places. What do you think is the importance of having those physical things?
It makes it real. Like, there's an infectious energy when Bitcoiners get together. And I think when there's a lot of them, then ideas are flying, just like the Thai group put together the podcast. And that's why we're having our major event, our major Bitcoin meeting of 50 people on Saturday, is because they got together physically and made something happen. Like, look at that. That's like exact proof of what you're saying is, what do you think it is? It's like, wow, look at that. And now we get to say, hey, what are your strengths? Where do you work? What do you do? How can we help? Like, we're all here. We got 50 of you together. Like, that's a big size. I don't know what it's like in any of the country because I'm so dialed into what we do here. But like, that's pretty awesome. And that synergy together, and they network. And I know that like one guy that I was friends with, another guy is an ultra marathon runner. This guy started training for ultra marathon because they got together, the Bitcoiners. They went hiking. I ended up joining them on like a training one because I'm not that intense. Like, there's cool relationships that are built. And then we could learn about what you're doing, and we could help. We have a guy coming on Saturday that's helped like 15 or 20 locations in a unique part of Thailand start onboarding Bitcoin as a merchant. So he's helped like 20 merchants in Isan, Thailand. And he's coming to talk about how he did that, like how such a small area. So these things are like, when you bring people together, you could teach that lesson. We have people that come here that just, there's this crazy thing, Robin. So someone, we don't know who it is, in Thailand, I don't have to show you, there's a QR. You could pay for everything from a coconut to a water bottle to a car. Again, I don't know about a car, but you could spend $3,000 at least on a scanning everywhere you go. Everyone has a scan. Somebody figured out how to turn that into Bitcoin Lightning address. And you don't need, so what it does is you go to a website called, it's a website. It's not an app that could get shut down. It's called plebqr.com. And it says pay or earn. You click pay, it opens up your camera. It scans the item that you want to pay for. So you don't have a Thai bank. You're Robin visiting Thailand. And it instantly converts that amount into a Lightning invoice. You open up your Lightning wallet. You click pay. It broadcasts it over Simplex. Someone in Thailand gets the exact bill that you need to pay. They pay for it. They get there you go. So if you click on pay, and you usually have to do it on a phone, it'll open up probably because you're not on the phone. It'll open up you try that, see what happens. Yeah, it'll open up your camera, and all of a sudden someone will pay that, and it'll get confirmed, and they will get about 20 baht or 60 cents for making that payment for you. So you could literally come to Thailand. Now, we don't know who this is. They're being very careful about sharing who they are because there's potential issues with AML and SEC regulations. But there's 8 countries that have the same similar payment method, and I encourage everybody to give it a try. And it's just some other people on the other end of simplex, and this could totally be iterated down to be automated as much as possible. I mean, we could almost try it now. We probably shouldn't because it might take more than 2 minutes. But so it takes about 2 minutes. You don't want to do it at the grocery store where there's people behind you. You go to a cafe or somewhere that you like to frequent. It takes about 2 minutes, and then you capture. You could screenshot who sent the payment, so you could show the merchant if they want a receipt, and then you put in your Lightning address in case it gets canceled or it doesn't go through. It gets refunded. So the Thai community doesn't talk too much about it because it's a little bit like gray area. I talk about it because people come into the office and they're like, hey, is there any peer-to-peer? I'm like, I don't really know, but you could use Bitcoin Lightning everywhere you go. They're like, what? Like, wait, I could use Bitcoin Lightning every single place, every single merchant in Thailand? And the answer is yes. And it only takes 2 minutes. It's really fun to do, especially if you're a Bitcoiner. Yeah, you'll pay an extra 60 cents, or you could choose the slow version, which I believe is only 5 cents, but I don't know, maybe you don't want to wait a minute. And it's just getting faster and faster. So I also am on the other side of it where I could see the payments going through. So simplex. So I could pretty much just see, like, if I've never been able to capture one because it's so fast that the guys do they capture it so quickly. But pleb QR, you can see it here. This is how it broadcasts, and this is what it looks like. I know it's probably backwards because we're on the screen like this, but it comes through. It tells you how much it is, how much the reward is. So you'll see like 20 Thai baht. If you do this reward, that was 4 baht. And so I just chose to see the other side of it so I could see how it all works. But it's actually not that complicated. And hopefully maybe some of your listeners will help figure that out. And I also want to encourage someone to figure it out in case something happens to this, because it's just such a wonderful solution.
And I think we will see a lot of those non-KYC, self-custodial Lightning on-chain solutions in ways where you can just spend Bitcoin and use it peer-to-peer, and you don't have to go through all the hoops. It's like actually kind of nice because I, for example, accept payments in Bitcoin and send payments in Bitcoin every month now. A year ago, I never received any Bitcoin payments, and I never sent any Bitcoin payments. Now, a year later, I do it more. Like most of my volume, my business volume goes through Bitcoin. I am a good citizen. I report everything to the tax agencies. I don't want to get in problems and stuff like that. But honestly, I could choose not to, because I get it non-KYC, I give it non-KYC, it's all in Bitcoin, never touches fiat. Nobody had to care about it, and they don't have to know about it. But I choose to be a good citizen, maybe naively.
It's inevitable. We know it's inevitable, right? So like in Thailand, the big thing is right now there's what they're calling the digital currency sandbox that's happening this year. And since Thailand gets a lot of its GDP from tourism, they're exploring accepting crypto and Bitcoin payments in a specific region called Phuket. It's sometime between now and November. So this is huge. This is huge. They know it's coming. They want to capitalize on it. It makes sense. This is the future. So we decided this year that we want to help support that. We want to help encourage Thailand to become a leader in digital innovation, especially in Bitcoin. And we want to make sure that we're pushing extra hard this year to separate the differences between what the exchanges are showing and what Bitcoin is. Because, the exchanges don't just show you the Bitcoin, they show you all the other fancy, colorful things. So this is why, we're having a Bitcoin marathon and festival in November. And what's really unique, and the tagline of the Bitcoin Marathon is "Run for Freedom." So like the ideal perfect title partner for this event, and there's 3,000 to 5,000 runners and over 10,000 festival goers. So this is a massive opportunity to expose people to Bitcoin, bring awareness, and the tailwinds of what Thailand's doing. So we want to help Thailand be the front runner in Asia. So one unique thing, yeah, you can see there. One unique thing about it is that since it's Run for Freedom, we really, someone like the Human Rights Foundation, Tether, these are like perfect title partners. And the exchanges, it's almost like, since it's not geared for Bitcoiners specifically, it's more for the general audience. This is students, this is entrepreneurs, this is athletes, this is families. It's a side of the Loy Krathong Festival. One really unique opportunity is to teach them about Bitcoin. So instead of having a bunch of potential exchanges that are going to put up their fancy, colorful coins, maybe we could just have a few hard, quality Bitcoin. And luckily we're controlling the whole process. We have a race organizer that's done the top one in Thailand of 30 years. So that's how we know we're going to have over 3,000 runners, participants. And then we have a professional festival event partner. So we get to control the sponsors. So we don't want like, it's digital. The screens are digital. So we don't want to lose the message. We want the message to be Run for Freedom, and learn about Bitcoin. So we believe this time, we're talking with banks, but like, again, I don't want we really want to be very delicate about who we choose. And that's very hard to do when it's, it costs 10 million baht, which is like $300,000. So to be selective, your first year trying to organize the world's first Bitcoin marathon is very difficult. So yeah, we don't want to say no. We will say if we have exchanges like the two larger exchanges out here, we're going, once we get through the process, we're going to request that they focus on the message of Bitcoin, because I just don't want like the mood dangs or whatever these things are. I don't want someone to think that there's a different Bitcoin. So luckily we're controlling that process. We're so excited. It's in November. So if you're still looking to explore what it's like to be in Thailand, we invite you to come on out, Robin, and we're going to have a big party. Then the funny thing is we didn't plan it. They told us this is the dates that it has to be, because there's massive marathons in Thailand, because it's got this picturesque natural beauty, and like, it's where the history comes together and the culture. It's really a big running place. Hoka just had their UTMB in December of like 5 or 10,000 people. So it's a really popular place, but yeah, if you come out, it's a great time to check out Thailand and Northern Thailand.
Really cool. I definitely, maybe not this year, but Thailand is on my list anyways, to places to live and places to visit. I think it's really interesting. How far is the Bitcoin adoption in Thailand in general? Like there seems to be a lot of grassroots movements and a lot of Bitcoiners, maybe also some noise with crypto, but at least they are somewhere on the solution.
There is a team called Right Shift. They're Thai Bitcoiners. They've been around a while. They're out of Bangkok, and they do an exceptional job at getting the message. And they really penetrate all the BS, and they're louder than all the crypto stuff. And while we don't have big adoption numbers, I do think that when people are listening to Bitcoin crypto, it goes quickly to what they're doing, and they're relentless like you. They just are constant on it. There's a team of 20 of them. They volunteer. They're super passionate. We team up with them. We collaborate with them. They're on the local Noob Thai podcast together too. So while I'm not sure of the adoption numbers, I am sure of the garbage that's out there, and it doesn't nearly get the viewership that, because I don't know. There's just, they're so far down the rabbit hole. They make fun of people and they're fun with it. And like, they're really, they put it together well. And they've translated like, the Bitcoin standard, the fiat standard, inventing Bitcoin. Another book's been also translated. So that's important. But it's not enough. My message on Saturday is how can we reach, awareness and not adoption, but making aware 1 million people, exposing 1 million people to Bitcoin. Like, what would that take? And if there's 100 of us, and how many thousands of people, and like, even if 10,000 people do some type of education or get us in there, if you could reach anyway, a corporation, another school, anything we could do together to try to just get to that number. And I just choose 1 million because that's 1.5% of the population. And that's a reasonable goal. And even with the Bitcoin Marathon and Festival, that's 15,000. So, we're already, that's just being exposed, a touch point in their journey. So we're not trying to say, force it and make people learn, but let's try to, reach as many people as possible. So we thought that method is a great method, just massive, big Bitcoin marathon, and try to get that. That's a huge one, and try to move the needle, because it is the grassroots efforts that are going to move the needle. So while adoption's not strong like we want it to be, we're trying to be the voice, and we're trying to encourage others to be the voice too.
I love that. I love that a lot. Unfortunately, we're already coming close to the end of the podcast. I have one more thing that I want to touch on. You just mentioned it briefly, but you have some previous project, some company that now is run by someone else, the meal plan delivery thing. What is it? And what I'm even more interested in, what have you learned from that you're now doing with Bitcoin? What are you now bringing from that to Bitcoin?
Sure. So meal plan delivery is we're a logistics company for prepared food companies. So like healthy food companies that have subscribers. So we are actually the secret people that deliver it. We've delivered in 24 different markets over the last 12 years, from the West Coast of America to the East Coast and South, in Miami, 24 different markets, I think 12 different states. So we deliver prepared food. What I've learned from that is to get out of the way and get smarter people around me that are stronger than me in areas that I'm not that strong in. So, I got smarter operators and smarter accounting and smarter management that are more organized and more detail oriented. And then I help drive the big picture. And so I took that strength that I have as I became a Bitcoiner, and first bought Bitcoin in 2017, really, really latched onto Bitcoin in 2020. And it just shifted everything about the way that I see the world. It's changed everything. It's changed there isn't anything that it hasn't changed about me. So I just take that passion of learning and knowing your strengths and knowing your weakness, and then help guiding and building a team out here. And our team is like, we are rapidly growing. And I really want people to come and see it, especially if you're listening to this and you're coming to Southeast Asia and you're coming through Thailand, like, come see this, because it's got legs. It's got a lot of energy, and it's infectious to be around this much activity. So I've learned to just set the stage and let everybody play nice together. And that seemed to work well in my fiat world. And that seems to be working quite well in what we're building here.
And Bitcoin, it works probably even better, as you said. That it's like it's great. Like, and there's so many hyper smart people in Bitcoin. It's fascinating to see. One question that I asked each and every one of my guests is, what can we learn from you besides Bitcoin?
Prepare for this, Rob. I would say take risks. I know a lot of people hear it a lot, but like, we are young, and like, there is a world coming that we're building, and it's difficult to try something new, but you're not going to know unless you do it. And part of that is traveling and, get out and experience it. And if it doesn't work for you, then you could go back to where you were, but you're not going to know unless you give it a try. So I think that's one thing that you could learn is travel, test it, taste it, and see how it feels. And you don't know what might be on the other side.
I love that message. Really cool. Thank you so much. We have one more end routine in the podcast where the previous guest is asking a question for the next guest without knowing who the next guest is. And I think this question could be a whole nother podcast. But you already teased it a little bit. The question from a previous guest is, what is the biggest impact that Bitcoin had on your own life besides the financial aspect of it?
For me, it was health. I want to see what this looks like, what we're building. And I want to be healthy. I want to be clear-headed. I want to be aware. I just want to be strong. I really believe what we're building together as a global community is so powerful that it would be so sad to have the regret of being way overweight or not being active or not trying something new or trying to build something. I don't want that regret. I want to see what a world looks like. So I say, get healthy, find something that you're interested in and be inspired about whatever that is you're interested in and just sprinkle a little Bitcoin on top of that and see what happens.
Vitality is everything. Like you have to have the vitality, and I really feel that with you a lot. Really cool. Thank you so much, Jimmy, for being on. Before I let you go, where can people find you, ask you questions, and reach out to you?
BitcoinChiangMai.org or BitcoinMarathon.org. That's an exciting project. I'm on X at Jimmy Kostro, _ Jimmy Kostro. I'm very active on X. Jimmy Kostro everywhere. You can find me everywhere. I'm on Nostr too and Telegram. But yeah, I like to spend time mostly on X and here in Chiang Mai. So if you just type in Bitcoin in Chiang Mai, you'll find one of us, and we're happy to invite you over to see the place and spend some time with you.
Just come by a better learning center, I guess.
Come by the Bitcoin Learning Center, Chiang Mai, Thailand.
Really cool. Thank you so much, Jimmy, for being on. Also, thank you so much for everyone that is watching and listening, for joining us today. As always, I'll be back tomorrow with another episode. Bye-bye.